Brought to you by Pearshell Financial Group.
Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
A little Queensryche on a Monday morning. Gotta like that. Dan and Amy and Charlie Munger. He's vice chairman of Berkshire Hathaway. He's Warren Buffett's right-hand man. He sat down with an interview, Yahoo Finance editor-in-chief Andy Serwer. I don't think Ocasio-Cortez knows who Adam Smith was. That's a powerful statement considering she has a degree from Boston University in economics, doesn't she? Was it in economics? Or she certainly...
No, yeah, it was economics degree.
She certainly suggests that she has taken an economics course, has even passed one.
No, degree.
On Elizabeth Warren, Munger said that she hasn't studied Adam Smith enough. Oh, I think she has. I just don't think she cares. Charlie Munger's being a little naive, perhaps purposefully, as if they don't understand the wealth engine, as opposed to they're not interested in it because they're interested in the power engine. That's the difference. He went on to question the severity of income and wealth inequality as an issue, belittling Ocasio-Cortez and Warren, saying, the people screaming about it are idiots. It's going to go away by itself. It's a problem if enough politicians are screaming about it. That makes it a problem. And he said of those two, again, I don't consider those two necessarily the best prescribers in the world when in reference to Elizabeth Warren's wealth tax and Ocasio-Cortez's proposal of a top marginal rate of 70%. For more on this topic and a few others like tariffs, we're pleased to be joined again by our friend Jonathan Hoenig, the capitalist pig. He is also a Fox News contributor, and don't forget his new book on Ayn Rand, a new textbook for Americanism, The Politics of Ayn Rand. And you got an event coming up May 8th at the Heartland Institute, don't you, Jonathan?
Yeah, Dan, great to be with you and Amy again this morning. You do have to shake your head time and time again when you hear a lot of the policies from the socialists, the leftists, even some on the right these days. You mentioned tariffs. The market's going to open down pretty sharply this morning. So there's this great debate now about just what America represents, what policies best reflect it and best emphasize it, and best help us get to a free, a prosperous America for all. And that's exactly what I'm going to be talking about this Wednesday at the Heartland Institute, 3939 North Wilkie at 5:30. Great organization. They're always helping to promote free market ideas in almost every realm. So I'm just really excited to be there this Wednesday talking about my new book.
Well, because of President Trump's tweet about adding new tariffs to China or on China, what do you think, how that's going to affect the market today? And was it really responsible of him to tweet something that's not true?
Well, what's not true about it, Amy, more than anything, is that tariffs somehow impact the Chinese. The president has said time and time again that, we're taking all this money because of tariffs on the Chinese. I mean, this is just factually wrong. Tariffs are taxes on Americans. They're taxes on products that Americans want to buy from that happen to be from Chinese companies. So all these tens of billions of dollars, and I believe it's something like $1 billion a day now coming into American coffers or the president's coffers. Those are taxes from Americans, Amy, and that's really having, in fact, a negative impact on the economy. But any economics textbook would tell you that. As Dan pointed out, it's not as if economics are unknown. The problem is the morality, that sense that, we have to sacrifice for our neighbor, sacrifice for the country. And that, in that sense, the president is the same as AOC. They just want us to sacrifice for other people. And this is just the opposite of what real Americanism is about. Americanism is about individualism. It's about making the most of your life. And my gosh, if you worked your whole life and want to buy a foreign car or a foreign chocolate bar, Americans should applaud that, not make you feel guilty about it and tax you because of it.
Well, and Trump's in a strong position to make this case, even though it's a misguided one, because of the economy's performance. You had a great jobs number posted on Friday. You've got productivity growth, which is leading to wage growth. You've got more available jobs than Americans prepared to fill them. So the president is sort of in a strong position to do some saber rattling with respect to the Chinese.
Yeah, I mean, what has made the country strong, Dan. The president would have you believe it's been tariffs, it's been taxes. You have the same supposedly conservative, low tax conservatives now applauding taxes on Americans. And keep in mind, economics is a science of secondary and third effects. So you don't always see necessarily the immediate impacts of things like taxes and tariffs in effect. So there is no such thing as a free lunch, Dan. You know that. Anyone who's studied economics for a minute knows that. So I know that the tariffs are having a negative impact on America. Now, look, it doesn't mean that you want to advocate for socialist policies in the country, but we know what has made us successful and prosperous. That's that individualist spirit. So this whole nationalist of, you must sacrifice yourself. And, Dan, ask some of our farmers, our listeners who are farmers, how the tariffs are doing for them.
Right.
They've, in fact, made the sacrifices because of these tariffs. So we need to get back to individualism, capitalism. That's what I'm going to be talking about at the Heartland, and that's what really America is all about.
Now, the U.S. jobless rate dropped to the lowest point in 50 years on Friday, but Democrats seem to be more gloom about it. Do you think it's interesting how they're trying to search for ways to downplay Trump's great economy?
Well, look, the Democrats are playing the game and Republicans are playing the game. This tribal sense of, it's either my team or your team winning. And this is, I think, different at this time in our history, Amy. It used to be, at least on the very surface level, somewhat about ideas, about ideology, about principles. I mean, that's really what the country's founded on. I mean, even just look at how some of the so-called conservative ideologies have changed over time. They would have been abhorring the minimum wage and tariffs just even a couple of decades ago. So, look, I think what impresses me are politicians who can stand on principle, who can stand up for what's right when it's right and what's wrong when it's wrong. And, that's what I think we should be applauding. So for any Democrat to be talking down the economy, but what is the economy, Amy? What is the economy, Dan? It's successful American companies, businesses, entrepreneurs. So, you can't herald the U.S. economy and at the same point be saying, well, we got to do something about Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates and the evil tech pioneers. They're the ones that make the economy, that save the economy. So I'm all for celebrating the economy. The Democrats don't certainly do that. I'd like to see the Republicans do it a bit more as well.
Locally, since you're a denizen of Chicago, you've got a graduated state income tax amendment to the state constitution making its way to the ballot for November of 2020. And that obviously will, that sort of fair shareism will lead to a better distribution of the burden and happy days again in Illinois, will it not?
Well, listen, the only thing I think keeping the state afloat these days, Dan, are the companies, the major corporations that are likely to stay in this state and certainly stay in the city of Chicago. Look, people are voting with their feet. That's what they can do in a free economy, in a free society. So we know that day after day, businesses, individuals are leaving this high tax, increasingly high regulation state. So the more that they want to pile on these taxes, the more they want to spend and enlarge these entitlement programs, Dan, the worse the state's finances are going to come. And look, you don't have to look too far to our neighbors to the northeast in terms of Michigan to know how bad things can get when you let spending and taxation get out of hand. Ultimately, when you let Democrats run the economy, but we're a long way far from that. We got to keep it from getting there, Dan, with these more and more taxes from Springfield and City Hall.
So, did you have a country house at 65 to 1? Let's see how good a prognosticator you are. Do you have country house or not?
We want to know if you can.
And were you involved in any sort of fixing? Do you know any of the stewards that made that very controversial call? We want full disclosure here.
No, I don't bet on horses. I bet on stocks.
There it is.
Pig.com.
There it is.
But boy, it's not over till truly that final gavel sounds. An amazing turn of events. A lot of money lost in Vegas over the weekend.
Yeah, $9 million, I think.
Don't bet on horses. Bet on the capitalist pig. There you go. That's a Kentucky Derby axiom.
Thanks, Dan, and thanks again for the shout out. And Amy, I look forward to seeing you and so many listeners at the Heartland Institute this Wednesday, 5:30, talking all about what real Americanism is.
He is Jonathan Hoenig, the Cat Pig, the book, a new textbook for Americanism, The Politics of Ayn Rand. Thanks, Jonathan.
Have a great one, guys.